Okay. So this is the sixth webinar. All right. It's not, there's a couple people missing. How many got in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people today. So small crowd tonight, which is fine. So I was actually going to go off the beaten path and do something different other than just just follow along with W3 schools, because I think that was making people fall asleep. Now we got Ricardo. All right, boom. I actually wanted to introduce this earlier on because I usually have not in my like entry level classes. I've never introduced like complex data types, which these really aren't complex, but off the rip. And that's what I'd like to do now, because we already have, everyone here so far knows our primitive data types, right? And our variables, right? So we have somebody tell me like the three or four mainly used data types for variables so far. Like besides strings, we have what? String,
Boolean, int, char, like float and double.
Boolean.
Int, char. What did you say in char, Kyle?
Yeah.
You said float?
Float, double.
Yeah, okay. All right. And so when we have these guys, we're just storing one value at a time, right, guys? So, and obviously you guys already know this, but string hello equals hello, right? There's just one single string value in here, right? Right? Hello, it happens to be. Okay. Same goes with an int. So if I have an int SSN, pretend this is a social security number. Actually,
Actually, I'm going to ask a question on that. Would you do a social security number an int, or would you do it like a string or something?
I was just about to say, it depends on the use case, right? So if you're going to have dashes in it, if you need the dashes in it, yeah, you'd want the what is it? 284 993. Did I do that wrong? Yeah.
4 digits at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
If you need the dashes in it, right? Well, these aren't numbers, these are characters. We have to include them in some sort of sequence of characters, right? So yeah, in that case you would want to use a string, okay? But that would all depend on like a lot of things. And if you're using it on something that's not just a basic, like basically written Java program, all right? And maybe it's like something that's taking user input and then authenticating it, then you'd have to like decide like, well, are they going to enter it in and is it going to look like they're entering in with dashes? And then we're going to filter, or are they going to enter it in with dashes? And then we're going to filter that out because our database stores it as a number and not a varchar, which essentially in a database, Kyle, which I think you might have learned this already on your own, that a varchar is kind of like a string in a DB. So, and a number is kind of like an integer, but that's case by case basis. Now, what if, and notice everything so far that we've done is all just like single values, right? There's no sequential values in here in all these like variables that we've gone over so far, right? So what if, which is fine. Like you can keep track of names. So I'll do this. I will do I'll make a string value, and I'll say name1 equals Josh for everyone's name inside here today. String name2 equals Michael. String name3 equals Kyle. String name4 equals Nick. String name5 equals Ricardo. What I'll actually do is I will copy this and save time. No, stop it. Go away. I don't know how many people are in here still. All right, who else is left? We got Cole. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alex. All right. So, that was, I'm creating, how many variables do you see there, guys? 10, right? I'm creating 10 separate variables, all right, to hold all these different names. And let's just say, and you guys don't know a whole lot about programming so far, but let's just say I need to do something with all these names to where they're all going to be, let's just say there's a function, and again, you guys don't know a whole lot about functions, but let's just say that there exists a function somewhere that takes in a group of names and then prints them out on the screen. All right. And I'll actually write this function right now. Let's do that. All right. So, public static string print names. All right. And we're going to take 10 strings. That's 1. That's 2. You see, I want you guys to notice how repetitive this is that I'm about to do. String S3.
Are you going to make an array out of this?
Yes, that's okay. Where this is leading. String.
My brain's going Excel.
S6. String S7. And now I can't even. Now I have to take the parameter, the input parameters for the function, and put them on a second line, which is really painful to me because I think that looks atrocious. And split this up because I can't even fit them all in one sequence.
Estimate doesn't have word wrap?
I don't know if Estimate does. String S9. This is ugly. Man, this is ugly. S10. All right. And this is about to be even worse too. All right. So I just made a function, and that's going to actually, this is not going to return a string. We're not going to return anything. We're just going to do work inside this function. We're not going to return anything. So you're going to be void. All right. And I'm going to do a system out print line. I'll do S1 plus S2 plus S3. Actually, what I should do is S4. Oh wait, S2. What's going on here, guys? All right. Hit the plus. Yes, thank you. No. This is what happens when you switch from Windows to Mac every single day. All right. We got to do that. Actually, I should just copy this guy. Josh, stop using Mac keyboard shortcuts. I mean Windows. Change this to S3. S4. All right, I'm about to split this on a new line. S5 plus. S6 plus. S7 plus. S8 plus. You guys starting to get tired of this, right? Because I know I certainly am. Just want you guys to notice how repetitive this is. S9 plus. S10. All right. Yeah, the work's not done yet, guys. Bear with me. Now I need to call this function inside the main method. So I'm going to say print. Actually, I need to instantiate equals new because we're in Java. So I need an instance of the object inside the class to execute this. Print names. Let's recompile this guy. Let's see how many errors we got. All right, so let's see. Error semicolon expected. Don't you ever tell me that my syntax is wrong. How dare you? All right, I forgot a plus. Touche. You're correct. I'm wrong. Plus. plus 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 plus. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Plus 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 plus. Okay, I think
you need one in between S3 and S4, right?
S3
on the right side, right
here.
there.
Here.
Yeah, in between like S4 and that last paragraph or quotation.
What line? Are you talking about on line 30?
29. I don't know. I could be wrong, but so it goes plus quotation quotation plus then S4. It's just missing that plus right there, I think.
Plus quotation plus S2 plus. I only need quotations in between. No, this should be fine. This should be. Ricardo says, why is the system a print line into S1 instead of name S1? Okay, so all right, Ricardo, you don't know anything about functions yet, but right now, right here, I have a function. Did I put that inside main? I didn't. Now, why isn't this function showing up? That's weird. Probably because the function declaration is like all jacked up. All right, Ricardo, when you have I'll just make a new function. So when you have a function, so let's say function public static void my function, okay? All right, and a function is what? It's a sequence of code that does something, right? It executes some sort of task or it just essentially does a thing. It has a function, it has functionality, which is why we call it a function. All right. The first line right here, this is called the function declaration or the function header. All right. That's the title of the title of the function is in there. All right. Which is right here. The return type. All right. The privacy accessor. And then there's several other keywords you can fit in here to customize a function a certain way. But then we have all functions they have this little like open close, I call params, all right, at the end of them, all right? And what goes inside here is if the function accepts input, so you have to give it some sort of information to do its task or send it some sort of data, it goes inside of here, all right? So, and then in order to tell it what type of data and how many it needs, you have to give it a type. All right, so let's just say I want this function down here called my function to just receive one string variable. I just want it to take in one string variable, all right? So I would say, all right, it's a string variable that I know that it needs. So I'm going to say string, all right? And then I just need to give it a random alias. You can literally call it titties if you want, all right? This name doesn't matter. It doesn't have to correlate with when you call that function and pass that in, all right? It's just a placeholder for, I'm just taking some sort of string variable inside of here. And you can access that variable inside the function by using its name. Plus equals, or titties equals hello. All right. That's what all these S1s are for. And that's because in this function that I created called print names, all right, I'm taking in 10 different strings. So instead of like typing out name 1, name 2, name 3, I just put S1, S2, S3 to signify to me, the developer, that, hey, this guy is just taking in 10 random strings to do something, all right? Here, when I call the function, the print names function, all right, I actually need to give it the actual names of the strings that I'm passing in. And since we know those names are name 1 through 10, I'm going to put them in right there. All right, does that clear up anything? We will get to this further. I'm going to have to, in order for this to work correctly, I'm going to have to fucking move this out. I think TextMate sucks that much. If the function stuff confuses you, Ricardo, don't worry, because we're going to get there. But it's good that you guys are getting some sort of a little bit of exposure on it right now, which I haven't done with this class. I haven't like dropped in I haven't exposed you guys to a lot of things that off the rip yet, which is why I wanted to do this today. Not following the lesson plan. We're all going to be brave soldiers here and go off the beaten path. Oh yeah, whoever said that there was a missing. Yeah, you're right. Someone was right about that. All right, let's clean this up, even though this is not clean, but.
It was me. I think there's one more on the next to S4 on the left of it.
S4, yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, string, space, 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 string. Okay. All right, let's see if this works. All right, you guys ready for the moment of truth? Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's see. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or I must have missed one of the strings in the call. But anyway, point being is, so I couldn't come up with a scenario off the top of my head as to why you'd want to contain a sequence of data together, right? So I just made one. I made a function that takes in 10 strings and prints 10 of them out, all right? Now, how long did we spend? If anyone, whoever's like watching this playback, whoever that missed class today and is watching this playback, go back to the video and rewind it to where I started this whole process when I started making all these names, all right? And look at the time. And now, then go back to where I am now and look at the time difference. It was probably like 8 minutes and 32 seconds. I don't know. I'm probably making it up at the top of my head, but actually that was right. Message me on Telegram and let me know. But notice how long it fucking took, right? And it's not like anything I did in here is super complex or hard or crazy. It was just repetitive. It was a lot of typing. And quite frankly, it was a waste of time. It was stupid. A waste of time for me as a developer, not for you guys. This is something that you guys need to learn. How can we simplify this? What if I told you that there existed other types of variables that can contain not just one piece of data, but maybe it can contain multiple pieces of data in a sequence? Well, gentlemen, indeed there is. There does exist this type of variable. Let me comment out this function call so that if I run this program again, it will not call this function. Back to where there does exist a data type that we can use to hold sequences of data, and it's a lot easier to work with, manipulate, edit than the 10 pieces of strings that I've put here right now. So let's take the exact same scenario and let's try to apply this new data type that you guys are going to get introduced to. And this happens to be called an array. All right. And that's spelled A-R-R-A-Y. Okay. Now, there doesn't exist a keyword to create an array. However, there is a specific syntax to make an array. And it's quite simple. So let's just say I wanted to make an array of strings, right? Now, I would start out by typing the data type for the array that I wanted to create, right? So we know we want an array of strings, okay? So I'm going to say string, all right? Next, and this is the important part that differentiates this from being an array to a singular string, okay? And I just use open close square braces, all right? And this is kind of like the universal symbol for an array. This little guy right here, okay? So keep that in y'all's mind. Every time you guys see this, you should automatically think of an array. Now, there are cases where it's not going to be an array, but you just ingrain that in your head that this open and close square braces, or you guys can just call it box, whatever, it signifies an array. All right. And now I just need a name for this array. So instead of just saying name 1 through name 10, I'm just going to say names. Actually, maybe I should just say name array, name R. All right. And I'm going to let that stand for name array. So if I just want to instantiate this value, if I just want to create it and I don't want to fill it up yet, I can just put the semicolon right here and it's done. So now I have an empty array. Okay. Now you might be thinking, well, is there a certain number of sizes in this array? Is this array that you have here going to be able to contain 10 values? Yes, it will, because you can actually alter the size. The size of arrays, I believe, are dynamic in Java, and you can alter the size of arrays by later on. It should dynamically grow or shrink based off of how many things are in there. Okay. So, but what if we want to just like what if we want the whole array complete right here? I don't just want to declare it and state. I want it all done at once. All right. So I'm just going to do the same thing as I do for every other variable. So far, what do we know about variables, guys? We know keyword for the data type, right? So string, then the name, and then the equal sign, and then the value you want to assign it, right? So we do the same thing here, except we have this little square brace attached to the word string, all right? So data type plus square brace, name of the data type, or the variable, excuse me, equals, all right? And so this is a string array, right, guys? So you're not going to be doing like Josh space Michael, all right? No, it's not going to be like that. You do need to. The only other difference for an array is you need to put the separated values inside of curly braces. Okay. Obviously, my semicolon goes to the end, but here I can fill my array now with separate strings, and they're always going to be separated by a comma. Okay. So Josh, comma Michael, comma Kyle, comma Nick, comma Ricardo, comma Cole. Let's break this on another line. Let's beautify it a little bit. Cole, comma Chris, comma Dixon, comma Derek, comma Alex. Okay. All right. Shaboom. Now I actually have an array that basically takes up everything that we did here. And I mean, look how much cleaner that looks. I'm just going to delete this for 1 second so you guys can see. Now, how much cleaner does that look compared to this guy up here? And how much less typing was it? It was quite a bit less typing, right? And actually, guys, you don't have to just like type the values manually inside the array itself in the format of a free form string literal. So open close strings. I can actually like put other variables inside here and tell this array that I want the values to be those variables. So I can like, for instance, say name one, name two, all right. So on and so forth. Okay. But to just for old school's sake, let's just bare bones it as much as we can so you guys can understand that. Let me put a comma here. String array to hold 10 names. 10 nombres. Okay. Now, I have the same function as before, all right? But how about I just edit this function to, instead of taking all of this garbage right here, okay, that takes up the entire page, to just taking in one string. Do you guys think that that's a possible thing? And if so, how would you assume it would be done? So let's just say, for example, and we have this function here. Now, again, to remind everybody here that doesn't know about functions yet, this is a function header, all right? And this is basically the declaration of a function. Everything inside the function exists in here, in between these open, closed curly braces right here, okay? And let's just say I wanted to just take one string. So I'll just say string S1. Now, instead of just taking one string called S1, can I take an array of strings called S1? And if so, would you guys want to make a guess at how to do that?
Would you just type in name R?
Well, you still need the data type, right? You have to say, so for example, on line 27, inside this params, I have string S1, right? String is the data type. Now, do you think that somewhere in this function, and it still says somewhere in this function, do you think that I need to tell it, instead of just taking a single string, I need you to take an array of strings?
Sorry, what was the question?
So for example, I have this function right here called print names, right? And it's just currently taking in one string, right?
Yeah.
Will I, if I want to just have this guy just take in an array, just a single array of strings instead of just one string, would I have to change this function at all in order to accept an array of strings? If you guys just had to guess, so far, what do we know the difference between an array of a certain type and a singular variable of a certain type? They both have the type, right? And then the name after that. But one of them has this box thing connected to the type. That's the only difference between these two things. So using deductive reasoning, all we know, that's the only difference. So maybe, just maybe, you would have to do that here to signify to the function that it's going to take an array. And lo and behold, that is indeed what is needed to be done, boys. You guys are supposed to answer that. I wasn't supposed to tell you guys that, but it's all good. So now what I want to do is I want to print this array string out. And I guess, let me ask you guys first, what is this going to look like if I just put, if I just directly take this string the string array that comes into here and just print it out? I don't do anything to string. What are we going to see if we print this out? Would you guys like to take a guess, or would you guys just like me to go ahead and try it? Let me show you guys what it is.
Is it be everything?
Do you have any idea what it would look like in the terminal?
Would you get an error on that if you're not listing out? I don't know, maybe because of the function, but wouldn't you have to do like a for loop or something to show everything?
You can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. And
that's how I did one of my homework assignments. So that's where my mind's at from the C# course.
Ideally, that's honestly, Kyle, that's like the go-to thing that you would do immediately off the top of your head if you want to just print things out in separate lines. But what if I did this? What would this look like? Well, let's see. Will it cause an error? Will it look like something cool? Will it look like something ugly? No errors so far. Let's see. Oop. And what is that? Does anyone want to take a guess what this is? That just printed out right there?
Is that like some kind of like machine language or something?
What do you think? There's really no wrong. I'm just curious as to what you guys would automatically think this is.
Is that your Bitcoin address?
Fuck. I gotta take this off the screen.
Yeah, dude, don't share that shit, bro.
Josh, that's your private key, bro.
It is an address. It is some kind of address. Is it a Bitcoin address? No. I'll tell you guys this. Michael was sheepishly giving you guys a hint. It is some sort of address. Does anyone want to take a hint?
Yeah. Is it like we talked about in the last class? Is it the RAM? The address?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Is it hex or something too?
Yeah, well, this isn't the hexadecimal. This probably like at the dirty bottom. All right, where all this like heavy machine code is being handled. This isn't the actual address, right? But this is a human readable address. But yes, this is indeed. Let me pull up my little handy dandy whiteboard over here. This is indeed the address of where it's being stored somewhere. So, and remember what our little visual representation of like your RAM when your program is running. Remember I told you guys kind of think of it kind of like a row of houses, right? All right. And so we have a name, which in this case, my array or my R, which we know is a string RING, a string array. Right? This guy points to the location or the quote unquote address, the name itself. The name points to the address of the data that is being held inside of this little house, right? Now, this name isn't the literal address of the spot in memory that's holding the data, right? That spot in memory that's holding the data has some kind of like crazy looking fucking ugly number. Okay. And that's the actual address of the house. But this name becomes kind of like a baton or really it becomes like a waypoint, or let me think of a better terminology. The name itself of the array is the link between the programmer and the actual ugly looking address that we don't want to read. All right. So when your machine, when your code sees the name of the array, it's not your code isn't thinking like a human. Your code, or the virtual machine, the CPU, it's not thinking like, oh, I'm going to go look for my R. It just knows my R equals the name of this address, and that's where we're going to go to the name of this address. Okay. But you're right, Nick. That's exactly what was going on. Very good observation. Okay.
So is it like the high and low language that we learned on like the first day?
Yes. Yeah. It's got something to do with that. Essentially, that's basically what's going on there. All right. So now we know what this guy actually is printed out. So why is when I give the name of an array to the print line, it doesn't just print out the value like it does inside of when I would just pass it a regular variable. So if this guy just took S1, and instead of here, comment this out. Instead of here, I changed the function for taking an array to just regular variables, right? And I just say name one. Okay, so name one is basically going to become S1 when this function is called, and then S1 is getting printed out here. So, and what's going to happen with this, guys? That's going to just print out the single name, right? We'll compile it twice. Josh, right? We both use the name both times. Anyone want to take a guess as to why when we use the strings name, it printed out the address?
Was it basically like the computer's knocking on the address, but no one's answering the door? Like you have to like.
Well,
because we're not giving a position of what we're trying to show.
Yeah, exactly. Because at this point, we're no longer dealing with. Well, it's hard to explain that in plain English with guys like you guys who aren't like 100% like knowledgeable in this stuff. But essentially, like, if we have one variable that holds one string value, there's no discretion as to like, oh, which one of these values in here is going to be displayed or is going to be used or handled, because there's just one value. But with a string, we no longer have one value, right? We now have 10 values in a single data type. So the way that the language was constructed, Java and most languages like, you can't just say the name. At that point, the name is just kind of just like a pointer. That's it. It's a pointer to the address. And Michael actually said that, yep, the name is a sign pointing to the front of the array in memory. Yes, it's exactly what it is. So maybe we should try something else. Maybe we should try adding something to this. All right. And so far, what have we had to add so far to everything else to change things from being a regular string to a string array? So first, when we made the array, we had to add this little box, right? And then when we wanted to change the function to take an array, we also had to add this little box. Now, why don't we try adding this little box here, and let's just see what that does. Let's just see what it does. Is it going to print out the address still? Is it going to do anything? Is it going to cause an error? We have an error. And what does it say? Class expected. So does anyone want to take a gander at this non-descriptive error? Why? Well, at this point, this little box guy doesn't really, this isn't the name of the array, right? So maybe we need to put something inside this box to tell it what position or which one of these guys, all right? And I don't know if I remember, I think I like briefly went over this in another class, but let's reload this guy. All right, should I try the premium features for free? All right, so let's think of the array. So we put all of our values in here. I'm gonna make them little curly braces. All right, so we have S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. I know I have beautiful handwriting, right, guys? So we create the array, all right, and we give it those values, all right? And then I believe I remember I told you guys to also think of an array, kind of like that same little thing. And we can just think of it as kind of like a little tube or a row of houses, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. And this guy, the first one is going to be S1, right? That's the first value that's written in there. The second value in here is going to be what, guys? S2. What's going to go in this box?
S3.
Yes. S3 goes in there. The next S4, right? S5, dot, so on and so forth, okay? Now, make some room here. Let's actually chop this guy down to just being a size 5 array for visual purposes. Okay. Let's get rid of you. Close you back off again. All right, so someone tell me someone count, not a trick question, count here how many values are inside this array, inside of this guy right here. How many values in there?
There's 5.
Exactly. So, they should be numbered sequentially, right? One would think that this one is obviously the first one, right? This is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth, this is the fifth, right?
Does it start at 0 though?
Yes, it's exactly where we're going. In computer science, we don't start at 1, we start at 0. Okay, so this is the first guy, but the first guy or the first position is actually going to be position 0. Okay, what's 0 plus 1? 1. So this is going to be the first position, which is or position 1, which is really the second point of data. Then 2, 3, and 4, right? So let's just say that later on in your code, you were looking for the size of an array, all right? Or a certain spot in the array, and maybe you got some kind of feedback saying that whatever you're looking for is in number 4, right? You might think off the top of your head, oh, that's going to be the 4th one, but it's not. It's really the 5th one. So that's something to keep in mind as we go forward, all right? But now that we know what we know, if I want to print out Josh, all right, the first piece of data, all right, and then using this kind of like map as our guide, and this right here obviously is the first data piece, right, or portion of that array. What I need to do is I need to put an index value in here as to which one to print out. So if I want to print out the first one, what should I put? Should I put 1?
No.
0.
Semicolon 0?
Let's see if you guys are right. Bravo, gentlemen. All right, so who else is inside of this array? Nick, you are 1, 2, 3. You're the fourth string inside of this array. So what do I need to put for you?
For me, you need to put 5. But if you wanted to add me, I'm gonna guess that you put 0 semicolon 5.
We're not gonna add you. I just want to print you out. But to add you, we could just we'll get to that in a second. If I just want to print you out, you think to put 5? Let's try that.
Yep.
All right. So why did that print out Cole instead of you? You're actually 2 places off of you.
Because I added 1 from my position I should be taking away.
Yes.
Started
Yes.
0.
-1. Whatever one you want, -1. All right. So if you're the 4th one, 4
3.
-1 is what?
3.
3? All right. Let's see if that works. right, good. So Ricardo, you're the 5th position. What are you going to put in here to get your name out? Remember, -1. You're the 5th position.
4.
Yep.
Probably.
Not probably, mate. It's definitely, baby. Definitely. All right, Ricardo.
Nice.
Dixon, you are the 8th one. So what do we put for you?
You're going to put a 7.
Yep. Let's see if we get a Dixon. All right, Derek, you're the 9th one. What do we put for you? Oh, he might be driving. He might not be able to see. Skip Derek. We'll come back. Kyle, you are. You're 2, right? 2.
Yep.
Put 2 for you. So let us see. All right. Chris, are you here?
I am here.
All right, you're the 7th position, so you're the 7th string inside the array. Which one do we? How do we say to print you out?
Then I should be 7, right?
Nope.
I wouldn't be 7.
Remember, arrays start at 0. So if you're the
Then I would be 6.
Yep. Let's see. Yep, Chris. All right. Alex, to guess number 10. What should you be, Alex?
So if it starts at 0, it'd be 9.
Yep. I believe you're correct. Let's find out. All right. Good job, gentlemen. All right. So before we get any further, does anyone have any questions on that so far? Is there anything that you guys would like to be clarified?
I have one. In the function, the last function, the string S1, why is S1 instead of name array?
Because, like I mentioned earlier, this is just a name to act as just a placeholder for the fact that it's just taking in some sort of string array. We're just giving it a random alias. You know what alias means, Ricardo?
No.
Let's see.
Alias.
Yeah. Let me think of another way. Well, apelido.
Oh, okay.
It's just apelido. That's it. All right. So it's for anything. So I don't have to just pass this, but I don't have to just pass, this. I don't have to just pass this names array. Let's just say, I make a second one. All right. Name array 2. All right. And I did Ed, Bob, Rick.
It's like the second name.
Well, it doesn't have to. Let me finish this real quick. Let's see. Ligma. Troy. Brandon. Cow. Chicken. Actually, I probably should have just done that. Let's do frog. Dog. Cat. Bird. Duck. Fish. Lamb. Goat. All right. And instead of calling this name array, I'll just call this animal array.
Wait.
All right. So if I wanted to be able to use this function to take any sort of string array, I don't want it to just take. I don't want people to think that they look at this code that it's only going to take a string array of names. It's just going to take any kind of string array. The reason I use S1 is in my mind, I'm just saying this is just a string, the first string, right? And probably I should just say S. All right, let's just say S. All right. In this case, I can now call this function, and I can just switch the names from name array to animal array. All right. Let's say I want to print out duck from the animal array. So I'll say 0. All right. So ideally, I should be able to reuse this function later on to do just that. All right. Duck. Now, if I knew that this function was only going to take a name array, or it's only going to be, Michael says it's like a nickname. It's just like a nickname. All right. That's all this is. But that being said, if there's a specific so this is just a generic function that I wrote whose path and purpose in life is to just print out string arrays. Okay. Now, if its purpose is to print out string arrays of names, and that's why I wrote it, and I don't plan on using it for anything else, then I would probably want to give it a nickname of like names. But not because it correlates, not because it has to be the same name as this array. So it doesn't have to be, name R, right?
Okay.
But the reason I put names in this case is to signify to myself so that I know in the future, this function is made to print out this array. But the way that we have it designed now, it can just print out any string array.
Okay. And if I want to do in the animal array to print some name.
It's where I'm calling the function. So I'm just saying the name of the function. All right. And then I'm just passing it in the name of the array. Well, and then I just put the animal array in there. But if I just want to call it with the name array, all right, I can do that. And let's do both. Let's call it again with let's call it with the animal array now. So it's going to print out the first string in the name array and the animal array. I have two separate function calls, right? So this function should be called twice. So we should see two separate things getting printed out. Let's look at that. Josh and Duck. Okay. Make sense, Ricardo?
Yeah. I get it now.
Anyone else? All right. So the position that I'm putting right here, we call this index. All right. Index. All right. So in this case right here, we are wanting to access index 0. All right. Which is what? The first spot. All right. So now, what if I wanted to print out two positions inside here?
We just add another box.
Okay. You thinking like this?
Yeah.
All right. And then what would you think next?
And then whichever string that you wanted to call upon, you just, I guess, add the index number for it.
All right. So like that. Let's try. Let's see if you're right. I'm not saying if you're right or wrong. Let's just see. All right, so we got an error. Let's read this error, guys. Oop. No, come back. So what does Mr. Error say? So we have an error in the main class of line 13, or 34, excuse me, which is this line, which is where we just made that change to. All right, and it says error, array required, but string found. And it's pointing at this guy. So it's saying that an array is required, but it's actually found a string. And that's not a super descriptive, but if you know what you're looking at, you probably should be able to know, a generally idea that there's something wrong with this new thing that we added. This guy right here. And I guess it thinks that it's trying to print out a string. So it's incorrect, but you're kind of thinking the right way. I'll give you guys a hint. You will need, if you want to do one and then a second one, you will need a comma for this. If we're just doing it in the way that we are now. Does anyone take a guess now?
Could you put S and then the brackets again? And
Yes.
then inside the brackets, you just put in like a 1 or just something different than what you already have in there.
It's good thinking. Let's see if that works. Let us see. Dixon. It was Dixon, right? I just said that?
Yep.
All right, so let's see.
Oh, that definitely wasn't it.
Not suitable method found for system out print line is not applicable. Actual and formal argument lists differ in length. Actual formal argument lists differ in length. Differ in length, differ in length, differ in length, differ in length. Okay. So
what about removing the S then and just leaving the bracket with the number in it?
Okay, let's try that.
But so you were going to say there?
Keeping the comma is what you're saying?
Yeah, keep the comma there.
Let us see. All right, and now it says illegal start of expression, semicolon expected. So it seems like it does not want us to do that. There actually is a shortcut to this, but that's more like advanced. Any other guesses?
Can you just put multiple numbers in that first box separated by a comma?
I'm sorry, you said
on line 34, where just put multiple numbers in that same box separated by a comma, like that.
with this?
Yeah.
Let's see. Where's my terminal? Gimme. Clear. Can you get, is this terminal size big enough? Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you need to, instead of comma, do you have to do a plus sign?
A plus sign. Where would it be?
Meaning like, I can't see your code there. I'm just trying out my example. So if you had, where are we at? Where were we doing that? So, sorry, I'm getting mixed up because I've been jumping back and forth. So like if you had, like, let's say like print line, the array name and then bracket 0, then like plus, because it's calling it like a string. So would you have to do, oh, it's down there. No, so like S bracket 0 and bracket plus. Nah, I'm realizing after just running that, I didn't put a space or anything on there. So, but something like that to do it, and then you'd probably have to put like your own quotes between the pluses, like if you were having multiple string variables entered in there.
So S plus S1.
Yeah, but that's not going to have a space or anything. It would butt them both up together.
Yeah, so you're saying a space. Why must syntax highlighting all weird? Oh, I know why. Goofy goober. Like this, it's still weird about this. Why
I don't think you have an open bracket by public on the public line 32.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This. Okay, so it says expected public static void print names. I think I might have messed up my, I messed up my, it's my fault. That's my fault, Kyle. There we go. Let's get back to the dirty. Back to the dirty. All right, compiled.
Cool.
All right, Kyle, what's going to print out?
Just going to put spaces between them.
All right, cool. Good. And there's actually a quick trick that you can just print out all of them without a for loop as well. Let me see. I think
I actually just found something. It was like arrays dot toString and then the string name was another one I just found.
Google it. You got it.
Oh, it looks like it automatically put in util arrays in addition. Import java.util.arrays.
I think it's util I need.
Yeah, and then it's capital arrays.
I want everything util. Give me the star, baby. Dial. And now we can use the toString function. So I can actually just say the name of the array, which in this case s dot toString. I can pass it. Oh wait, actually,
capital arrays dot toString, and then in the
use the
parentheses,
class, right? The actual arrays class. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I pass it in the string.
Yep.
See if that works.
Like, just side note, I just love problem solving like that because I'm like looking it up at the same time.
No, good. I would want you guys to do that. All right. Now look at this, guys. It printed out the array, but it actually printed out the square braces. Okay. So what this toString function does is it takes whatever it comes into it and turns everything inside of it into a literal string, which we call string literal. So this is a way to do that. Now, what if we wanted it clean? What if we wanted this done cleanly? Well, we can do that by using a for loop. You guys don't know anything about for loops yet, and we're going to get to that in the future. Not super far. But Kyle, you know a thing or two about for loops. Where would I start this for loop at? 0 or 1?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, exactly 0.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to increment it by 1 each time. I++. Guys, notice this plus operator. I said it increments something by 1. And then where do we want to end it at, Kyle?
The example I found, it would be the
there's a few ways to do this.
I is less than string.length or variable.length.
That's that.
So like counting up the entirety of them.
Is that a function? Is a length a function?
It was
property.
No, it was just a semicolon after that. It didn't even need the parentheses.
Okay. All right, let's see that. And here, let's take this.
Wait, if that's your last one, do you need the semicolon there?
No, you don't. Okay. I really don't feel handicapped developer over here using my shitty text editor. All right, so let's see. And what would I put inside the system out print line?
The variable name, so s bracket I and bracket.
Yep. And we're just using this I in correlation to this I being the index. We're saying the array at whatever in this index is a value, right? So this, and you guys don't know anything about for loops yet. Don't get too caught up if this doesn't make sense. Don't get uncomfortable if this doesn't make sense right now, because we're going to go over it in depth later. But just for a quick breakdown, a for loop is something that it makes multiple iterations. I think I have a YouTube video on it. Let's see.
Pretty sure you do.
Put that in the Telegram chat if you guys want to go watch it after.
Yeah, I think the last condition there should be in the middle.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are correct.
I take no credit. That was Michael pointing that out.
Boom, baby. All right, now we're working. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, so let's see if we got any errors we need to clean up.
Semicolon after the I++.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Maybe there's more. We'll see. Java. See? Main dot Java. No errors. Java. Main. All right. And you notice how it printed out on each. It printed out each one on a separate line, nice and clean for us. Why did it print out on a separate line? Anyone want to take a guess?
It's a print line, the ln.
Yes, the ln basically says I want to print it on a new line. So what if I did this? I just did print, the basic print function, which doesn't clear up and set it on a new line each time. What would that look like? This, in that case, it would all be together. Okay. So if I wanted to add some spacing between that. I'd have to do that. Okay. Let's look at that. Now we got spaces. All right. So there we have it. You guys saw an array so far. We saw loops. Let's just for comparison. Let's make an integer array. All right. So you guys have already seen how to make a string array. All right. So let me just say num1 equals 1, int num2 equals 2, int num3. So I'm going to make these arrays. I mean these numbers. 4 equals 4. 5. All right, I'm making these numbers. Now, someone tell me down here, I'm going to say int array to hold 5 numbers. So using based off of the things that are above us, so we have, these two examples here. All right, we have our strings up here. How do I make an integer array now to hold these 5 integers and fill up the array with these 5 integers?
Are
you gonna do? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you good if you want to go for it.
I was just gonna guess. Would it be integer or int with the brackets?
Then I need a name, right?
Yeah, you could do like num array or something.
Num r. All right, and we gotta assign it to something. What do we do now?
Curly brackets.
Yep.
And then 1 comma 2 comma to all the way to 5.
Yeah, so we can do that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, they're not strings. Not strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. What's a better way to do this? We don't have to retype new stuff. In this case, I should just do this here. I should say name 1, copy. Two. Name 3. Name 4. Name 5. Name 6. Name 7. Not 17. Oh, slow down there. Slow down there, partner. Name 8. Name 9. Because remember, we can just put the name of variables that are just strings in here, right? So in this case, let's just fill this guy up with num1, num2, num3, num4. And it's actually more typing than the typing out the actual number, but let's just say these numbers were. Let's just say these numbers were 1.
Name 5 should be num5.
Num5. All right. And then I need to make another function now that takes an integer array instead of a string array. So I'll just start the function off for you guys. Public static. Not going to return anything, so I'm just going to do void for the return type. We get the name of the function. Let's just say print nums array. Change this guy. Print names array. Print names array. Print names array. Array. Okay. All right. So now I have an empty function header, but I need to let it know that it takes in inside the parameters over here, that it takes in a number array. So how would I do that? Or an integer array, excuse me.
INT in there.
Mm-hmm.
And brackets. And I don't know if you need this, but maybe space and S again, or no?
Yeah, we can just, and this time we can just say I or hi. We need a random alias, right? A random nickname.
Right. And then can you just copy and paste literally everything else?
Yep. Now you're thinking like a programmer. All right, and we just need to change this guy I. Since we actually use I in here for this variable that we're creating right here in the for loop, let's change this to in. All right, now what's next? We just need to call this function, all right? So I'm going to say m dot, let's just see, what is it called? Print nums array. All right, we need to pass it in the number array, which is called num r. All right. Gucci, baby. Let's clear that. Java C. S.length. So it says cannot find symbol. Oh, and the difference here is that we're telling it to stop at the string.length, which is the dot length is a property of strings. And this string happens to be the S that came in here. So we're saying this, take the length, give me the length of the string that's being passed in. Now we're not doing, dot length isn't a property of an integer array. Actually, no, it is. Sorry. Let me change this to in dot length. All right. So I don't think there's anything else there that needs to be changed to make that work. Let's see if that works. Java main dot Java. Oh wait, Java C. Did I just compile it? Losing my mind, fellas. Wow, that was kind of slow for it to compile. It's looking like Giovanni's computer over here now.
You need more RAM.
More RAM. There we go. So now both these functions executed. This one, we can comment this out so we can just see what it looks like. Just printing out that number array. Can I download more RAM? That's a great joke. All right. Boom. All right. Let me give this guy a little print function. Print the strings in a string array. And here, I'm going to say prints the come on, mouse. Nums, and an int. Stop it. I have a 10-year-old mouse that I refuse to replace an int array. All right. Let me uncomment one of these guys. You know, we left off last time. All right. I think that was pretty informative session we've gone through so far.